Hey everybody, welcome back, hopefully, to Would You Stay Tuned? Or maybe it's your first time to Would You Stay Tuned. If it is, just explain what the podcast is about. Basically, we watch the first episode of a series, or maybe the first few episodes of a series, depending on if it needs it or not. But in this case, we watched the first episode of The Penguin, and then we talk about it, and then ask each other, hey, would you stay tuned? Would you keep watching to The Penguin?
Would you keep watching to The Penguin?
Yeah. I'm Marvin. I'm here with Dan and Ricardo this time. And we all have like 3 different levels of exposure to the Matt Reeves Batman verse, I believe.
Or perhaps at this point I am at the same level of exposure as... No, Ricardo's up to date with the show, right?
Yeah, I believe Ricardo's seen every episode available so far, right? Of The Penguin?
Yeah, I've probably seen every Batman movie ever made as well.
And you've also seen the Batman with the Pattinson.
Have you seen Gotham?
Okay, so I didn't see that all the way.
It's okay.
I saw the first season.
Okay, what about Pennyworth?
I forgot fucking Pennyworth existed.
Yeah, this watching this show kind of made me remember, like, oh yeah, what about all that other crap?
Yeah,
Pennyworth would have been cool if it was Guy Ritchie and he could use the C word. You know what I mean?
And they went overboard.
And Pennyworth was fucking Jason Statham.
Yeah, basically that's what you want.
Fuck you, Thomas Wayne. And then fucking roundhouse kicks, like, you know.
And Thomas is like, I like this butler.
Yeah.
But Dan has only seen the Batman in the first episode.
Yes. And
I've only seen the first episode. I have not seen the Batman. Right. So we all have a few different levels of exposure.
Wait, you have seen the Batman?
No, I have not. I have not seen the Batman. Yeah. But the thing is, having seen the first episode now, I'm not sure it's necessary to have seen the Batman. Okay. Right? Well, I mean,
honestly,
what would you say?
I do agree that it's certainly not necessary. It's very easy to understand what's happening without the input of the movie.
By the way, if you're a first-time listener, there will be spoilers for the first episode.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying for every episode of this entire series. There will be spoilers for
and also spoilers for the Batman.
Yeah. Well, the first episode of The Penguin spoils the ending of the Batman, which is the Riddler explodes the seawall. And it looks like the poor neighborhoods of
and
Gotham
also
City.
John Turturro's dead, which is such a shame because he was the best part of the Batman.
Yeah, so Carmine is dead, so now Alberto is taking over. And that's the setup, right? That's all the setup from the Batman.
Yeah, Alberto's next in line. Our Penguin, Mr. Oswald Cobb minus Opot.
Yeah, he's not Cobblepot. He's just Cobb.
Yeah, it's a weird line to draw there to me. It's like, sure, go ahead and do it, but also it's like you didn't need to do that either.
Maybe it was too English. Maybe they thought Cobblepot was
they did want to kind of make him more of like a Bronx, New York type sort of dude.
Because he's not like either.
He's not from the upper crust like many versions of him have been.
Or Cockney, the Arkham games.
You're talking about the Penguin's Oz's origins. I mean background, right? Like where he grew up and stuff.
Yeah.
I do. You know what? I did like the version from the Telltale game.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty.
Oh yeah,
cool
the one where he's just a guy.
Yeah. And he was kind of like Bruce Wayne's friend and stuff, and like.
Right.
It was a different take, and I like that. That it was
There's
different.
actually shades of the Telltale game in like the Batman in like that movie.
Yeah.
I thought it felt. I thought there was like you can make comparisons there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I feel like the Telltale games actually make such a large departure from the original Batman characters to the point where like the Joker is a completely different type of concept entirely.
Yeah,
and
like Joker aside, like I would say that the similarities that I'm talking about in regards to Telltale Batman and Matt Reeves Batman is the revelation that Thomas Wayne may not have been the greatest guy or had connections to the mob.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, because like in like The Dark Knight, in the Christopher Nolan Batman, he really looked up to his dad, you know? Like, what do we do when we fall? Yeah, we get back up.
And Thomas Wayne was just a straight up philanthropist. Like, he was just a good guy.
Yeah, unassailable.
Yeah. I have a question. So they allude to Penguin owning the nightclub, which is classic. But is he as much
he ran it. He ran it. I don't know if he owned it.
He ran it for Falcone.
Yeah.
Right. So, but is he as much of a foot soldier type in the movie as he seems to be in the show?
Pretty much, yeah. In the movie The Batman, he was usually hanging around Carmine Falcone and just being like one of the hench guys. And like his big scenes in the movie, The Batman, where he gets into a big car chase because Batman and Gordon are after him because they believe he's a rat and they think and they want to pin him and, you know, like accuse him, but they're wrong.
I think if I had to like, because there's a lot of parallels to like The Sopranos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if I had to like pin him down, though he doesn't have this relationship, but ranking wise, he's like where Christopher Moltisanti is. Where Chris is.
Yeah.
Where he's not totally made yet, but he's an associate, you know?
Oh, really? That's where you pick him?
But he also seems to have been doing this for quite a while, though.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
So
I think he's a level above like where Christopher starts at the beginning of the show.
You think
if we're talking about where he starts at the beginning of The Sopranos?
Yeah.
I think Christopher is like very like compared to where Oz is, because Oz at least has like
he has people working for him and people listen to him.
So does
like
Chris.
he has a gang.
So does Chris though.
And he drives like a very nice car.
Chris had a gang. He drives a really nice car. And the thing is that like you could be making a lot of money, but you're still not. He's still not part of the table. Do you know what I mean? Like he's still not making decisions. He's not a shot caller. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
I guess that's true. Yeah,
he's still driving people. He's still like running errands, even though he has a gang. Like they're still giving him.
But he's much older than Christopher.
Which kind of like I think all that informs his character and informs the series as well, the story as to like he's kind of stuck in middle management there for a while, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that resonates with me with the character is that he is the Tony Soprano who is a failure. Yeah, like Tony Soprano starts the series on top, and it's kind of like the ennui of being the boss. And he doesn't really want to be the boss, you know, like he inherited being the boss.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to like deal with the psychological ramifications of being involved in this business for so long.
Like Alberto's in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alberto is sort of like being the Tony there, but Penguin has aspirations. Like if we're recapping the episode, like it starts off with he's going up to some hidden flat area.
He's going up into the Iceberg Lounge into like where they used to hang out as a, you know, doing their shady stuff. Okay. And he tries to raid Carmine Falcone's vault for goods.
So when the show starts, it's literally the last shot of the movie. So the first shot of the show is the last shot of the movie.
Really? So the movie ends with Penguin in the window?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't end with that. With that?
Yeah,
it ends with actually I watched it just last night to like refresh myself. It ends with Batman on a motorcycle driving away after looking at at Selena Kyle driving away.
That
on
would
her
be a really weird ending.
Wait, sorry. Yeah. But the first shot of the Penguin show, sorry, I should have been more specific, is the last shot you see of the Penguin. It's the last time you see the Penguin is the first shot of the show.
Okay. I'll take your word for that. Yeah. I mean that kind of makes sense, except the shot.
So what you have to, Dan's right. So what you have to put into context is that like this is happening as like literally as Batman is ending and like he's had that fucking arc. You know what I mean?
Okay, that shot makes him look a lot more badass than he really is in the show. At least in this first episode.
Well, the thing is like basically. And not to bring a lot of stuff from the movie, but like
bring it. Like, yeah.
Well. Okay. So the show starts off, and he's looking out the window, and basically he's in a part of the club that he usually doesn't hang out in, dude. Like he hangs out. The Oz is in charge of the main part of the building of the club, and then there's a second section where it's exclusive. And I don't remember. You rewatched it more recent than I did, Dan. He never steps foot in that like exclusive part of the club where like
they
the
call it Club
Falcones
44, and actually when I rewatched it yesterday, I actually can't remember even in my most recent watching whether or not I saw him enter that.
Yeah.
But
so basically, Oz isn't even allowed to be up.
I think that makes sense because when Alberto sees him there, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?"
Exactly.
I think he's like, "You shouldn't be here," type of thing. So,
and I like that it starts that way because it's like now the boss is gone, and like there's kind of a power vacuum, and he, he starts off where he's never been, basically looking out that window. He's never looked out that window. He's only, it's funny because like the way the club is and stuff, it has like parallels to Batman Returns, where he's only lived like in the lower levels, like in the sewer levels of the club, basically. He's never been in the upper levels of the club. And that's cool. So the show starts and he's there like kind of fantasizing a little bit about, what could be.
And I do think it's interesting that so he goes through all these motions to like grab this, what's it called, like blackmail evidence, whatever that is. And then when he meets up with Alberto, he actually does seem to be talking with Alberto in good faith. Like, and he even kind of tells him what Alberto deduces is his dream. Like he dreams of being the beloved crime boss. Like he dreams of being like a neighborhood hero as a crime boss.
Well, what do you mean that's Alberto's dream?
No, that's Penguin's dream.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, Penguin is he's talking to Alberto in good faith.
Yeah,
and
totally.
then
like,
when Alberto
kind of like opening his heart kind of a little bit.
Yeah. He's like trying to be like, you know what, I think you could be that guy. I think that'd be cool. And Alberto's like, go fuck off. And then he fucking just kills him.
And then he laughs at him, dude.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's
one thing before we get there is he does do a thing where like he breaks into the safe, right? He breaks into Falcone's safe and he hides. I had to rewatch it again to make sure, like, oh, does he hide it, or how did he get away with like taking the paperwork that he found in the safe? You know what I mean, because it's basically like a ledger of who owes him money and like who's paid them off, who they paid off. It's like the basically the bookkeeping, and then he gets like a little container full of like a bunch of expensive jewelry, and he's about to give it to. He's about to take it as well, but Alberto catches him, and so he has to, like, as a diversion, he has to give him the jewels. Like, hey, these are for you. They were not for me.
Yeah,
just getting them for you. But I think like it's really well written. I thought like it starts off, and first of all, I really like how the pilot's written. That the fact that like you start to see, also you see it a little bit in the Batman where like he's kind of able to talk himself out of everything. I mean, like
that seems to be like his survival mechanism, and why he's gotten as far as he's gotten is that he can kind of convince anyone of everything to some extent. Yeah, even if all the odds are against him, he can like impose his will just by smooth talking his way through it. Because even in every scene where he's in a stressful position where he seems trapped, he can kind of talk his way out of it almost every single time. Yeah,
it seems like that's where he's most comfortable, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's a quality that's very befitting of Penguin as a character.
Yeah.
And like the whole performance overall to me, like, well, I guess for starters, Colin Farrell, everyone likes to tout like, how unrecognizable he is, or how unrecognizable he is, and truly he is like hard to pin as like Colin Farrell when he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But his overall performance strikes me as like if Joe Pesci had a heart and a club foot.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he has developed the skill, right? He's which is weird. He's physically strong as fuck.
Yeah.
Like he kills Alberto and he like throws him over his shoulder by himself. Yeah. Bodies are heavy.
Yes, they are.
It's very difficult to just...
And he does it without both feet.
And he throws him down the stairs. Like that's
a good little moment. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
yeah. And it's like, this motherfucker is super strong.
It's kind of like, he's kind of like what's it called? Fisk in Marvel.
Yeah, like a Wilson Fisk. Yeah, but
where
he's like deceptively strong.
He looks like he's just really fat and like kind of like not in shape, but he's fucking strong as fuck.
Yeah, and then like it's funny because in the Daredevil original run of Daredevil shows on Netflix, it's like he's super strong, like he can like do stuff. But then when he came back in the Hawkeye show, he's like cartoonishly strong, like he can like throw people through brick walls and shit. So I don't. But this episode at least, Penguin stays pretty grounded in. He just seems like a really strong motherfucker. Yeah, and
he's mob tough.
Yeah. And one thing that's really cool about like it is amazing that like because so like if you watch like concept art of like what they floated around, like there's a version where it's just Colin Farrell. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, but I think this works so much better because like Colin Farrell is a great actor. But he's charming and he's good looking. Where when you have this thing on him, his charm and his all that stuff has to come out in a way to dig himself out of things. Yeah. And that works really fucking well. Yeah,
it has to depend more on his actual performance than just his natural charisma. The one thing though that I am not a huge fan of is how cartoonishly exaggerated his gait is. I get it. He's the Penguin. He's going to literally waddle, but I think it's a little too much, like to the point where it's hard to take him a little seriously when he's walking around.
So this hasn't happened so far. This hasn't happened on the show, and this is just me kind of looking forward. But I bet you they're gonna do something with that. Like eventually, if he gets a cane or something, like once he starts becoming more of the Penguin.
Oh yeah, he's got to get the cane, and
I feel like he'll get a cane.
Or use the umbrella as the cane.
Yeah, and I bet you like they're gonna do something with that. Like they're gonna fix the walk a little bit with the cane, and like
Well, it's just a little too. I mean, I've seen BTS photography of him with the top hat, so like they are definitely going to like eventually get him into some of the more formal attire that the Penguin's known for, I think.
Yeah, that's actually pretty funny.
But which has got to come with the umbrella too, right?
Did you see that he was or did you see the Easter egg of Burgess jewelry?
Yeah.
So there's a little
and then the little logo on top of it is a little guy with a little loop.
But so he kills the guy. He kills Alberto. Fucking throws him down the stairs.
Who's Falcone? I don't think if we said it, but it's Falcone's son and the heir to the mob empire.
So like, there's this whole setup of, oh man, that's what the show's gonna be about. But no, it just starts off with him killing him, and then
I did like that because even like watching the previews and stuff for like the first episode, like the trailer, because this guy is not like. He's not a day player. Like he's been in like the Marvelous Miss Maisel. Sorry.
Yeah, he's the husband.
He's like been in. He's an actor. Like a known actor. It wasn't some guy they just brought in for like, oh, he's going to be in one episode. So it was really well done that they're like, because I thought like, oh, he's going to be in a bunch of episodes. Like he's they're not going to bring this guy for one episode. And I thought it was a really good job that they did. That they're like, nope, he's gone.
Yeah, which is fun. And then also immediately sets up sidekick for the show, which is just guy who, as he's throwing body into trunk.
I feel like it might as well be Miles Morales.
Yeah. What's his name? It's like Aguilar, Victor Aguilar.
Victor Aguilar.
Yeah. Okay, so Victor. I didn't look it up. I don't know if that's like an existing comic book character or something.
No. The first thing I thought about was like, oh, is he Mr. Freeze? Victor?
This little boy. By the way, Penguin. That makes sense because Penguin loves cold, and then he ends up teaming up with a villain who loves cold.
Cold as ice.
Man, Victor Agua Frio.
Yeah, dude. Could have been, dude.
Damn it.
His name was Victor Frio.
Victor.
God, they could have done it, dude.
It could have gone the extra mile.
Damn it.
But I do like that. Like it's kind of random, and like it's this guy who's like he's a thief, basically.
Yeah.
Like, so what we have to establish is that like the poor neighborhood that was already there got worse because of the flood and stuff and how
it only made the class divide bigger. Like it didn't fix anything. If anything, it made it much worse. So
things are worse than ever.
Literally that cop would be there.
No more dead cops.
Gotham's always just going to hell, man.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the way
something.
how much of this is like volume green screen. How much of this city is real? Like,
I don't
actually
know,
shot
but
on location.
well,
they do a
I'll tell
really
you
good
this.
job of like production design.
I'll tell you this: the movie
Mhm.
is a lot of the volume.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So it's so well done though. Like it just
But that's
it
the
just
thing,
works.
See, I think shows shot on the volume, this entire show has this feeling of none of this looks real to me, like constantly. It's the same problem I
Quick
had
for
with
the audience's sake, define on the volume.
So the volume is basically a new state-of-the-art green screen technology where basically it's not designed just to have a flat background. It's designed in 3 dimensions so that on the fly, live as they're recording, they can see what the actors will look like in a 3D rendered environment, usually in Unreal Engine 5. If you play video games, you'll know of Unreal Engine. And because Unreal Engine 5 now is so good that they've been using it for movies for quite a while now. I think the first real use of it was in The Mandalorian. And I haven't seen that much of The Mandalorian, but I've seen a lot. I've seen the entirety of The Last of Us. And that's one of the problems I had with The Last of Us, is that a lot of it is shot in the volume. And there's so many shots where I'm just like, they are sitting on a cube in a green screen. Like there's like this emotional scene in the very last episode where they take a quick pause right before the last few events start happening. And I'm like, they are not there. They're in some sort of room. This does not feel like they're outdoor in a city. So some of these do feel like real, like the part where he's getting carjacked. That feels like that is shot on location somewhere, but lots of it does not.
So for the movie,
Yeah.
only the wide landscape scenes were shot in the volume. So for the big cityscape scenes.
Yeah.
So and they mainly did it so they can manipulate the sunset and stuff, and it was because they wanted
That seems to be what it's for.
Yeah.
Because like for example, he forces Victor to drive him around. He does the alibi, and then they go to the junkyard, right? And the junkyard, the scene is based around the sunrise.
Yep.
So that clearly felt like, we're shooting on the volume here. And also at the very end of the show when they're okay, I like the Penguin more because he is this schmo and he did grow up like having a struggle. And like he can reminisce with Victor about like, you ever go to that, what's it called, Buddies, the corner store?
Buddies. You get slush puppies.
Get slush puppies. You ever get the suicide, and at the end they're drinking the suicide together, which I think is really cool. And that's clearly on a volume 2 though, like they didn't set up a Buddies. And then it does like a crane shot out to the city. And that's gotta be a volume shot. Like there's no way that isn't, which is like, okay. I mean, there's a lot of things that would have been like so hard to do if they didn't do in the volume.
But it works really well. Like, so the volume works really well in The Mandalorian because it's a different universe, right? It's like, you can make it up to look like anything. But here it works because you could make the city look like whatever, but then the intimate moments or like the city moments, you're shooting in actual practical sets.
Yeah.
And like anything that's like dusk or, where they're showing the large part of the city, they use the volume, but for the most part, it's not really reliant on it. It's more like when it's wider scenes, basically.
And I guess it sort of works because the setting feels mildly anachronistic. Like there's flat screen TVs.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's timeless. Right? There's no dates.
Cars look old on purpose, or a lot of them do.
Yeah. The cars look kind of old. They look like 80s, 90s cars.
Except for Penguin's own car.
Yeah. But then like when they go to his mom's house, they're watching stuff on a flat screen TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they seem to like he's watching like an old timey thing, like the MAME. The thing I forgot.
Blame it on MAME.
Blame it on MAME. Yeah, and he's like intrigued as if it's like something contemporary, So it's like I don't know what time period this is really taking in, which is fine. I mean, that's a very Batman thing to do, right? Batman is often set in generally gothic grunge, and that's sort of like where a lot of Batman things are set in. But yeah, it's just interesting because like then he sort of. Just to keep going through it, like he is now got this buddy, Victor, that he's forcing to take around. And he's now kind of the rest of the episode sort of dealing with the consequences of having killed Alberto.
Yeah.
Which is he's gonna pretend I'm just gonna go about my day. You know, I learned about a new type of drug from Alberto by looking at his phone. There's gonna be a new shipment, and even though his bosses call him in just to tell him that, hey, shut down your operations, because his operations were in the part of Gotham that was flooded.
Yeah.
And is currently in like civil unrest. Like there's all sorts of shit happening.
Yeah.
Their own, in this universe, I guess drops is the drug of choice. Literally eye drops.
Yeah.
And
it's like Bebop.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of that was damaged in the flood. So now they're like, this isn't worth it. We're just gonna sell to like the middle class area of Gotham. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And then Penguin's like, well, look, I know of this shipment. And that's when Sophia comes in.
Yeah.
Daughter to Carmine Falcone.
And
sister of Alphonse, or what's his name?
Alberto.
Alberto.
Yeah. And I know Sophia from the comics, actually.
Yes.
She's actually not a huge character in the comics, but she does exist.
Does she have an alias, like as a villain, or
she is huge, but in stature, in size? She's like a Hulk, like literally, like she's huge.
Oh, right. Yeah. And then in the comics, she's known as the Hangman as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
Yeah. So
in some versions, she is a hangman herself. In some versions, like somebody else is a hangman, but she takes.
Well, it's like her most prominent storyline, or like what introduced her. Was she like a component of the Long Halloween or something?
I think she was in the Long Halloween, and then she comes back in another comic.
Nightfall, isn't she in like Nightfall?
It's been too long since I've read those stories.
I think she comes back to like take on the alias of the Hangman in order to avenge her father or something.
Yeah, or like her brother or like her uncle's a hangman, and then she comes in and takes the alias.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and then at one point, like they think she's dead, but she's not dead.
Yeah,
sounds about right for comics.
But it's not what's in the show.
Yeah, right. It's not like a real mainstream character. You know?
No. Yeah, because she doesn't end up being like I don't know, like a cartoon, like one of the rogues gallery of Batman villains. She's like a gangster that's sort of only in a few stories.
She's actually in when it gets down to like the mobster like level of villains in Batman. Right. That's when she's really involved.
Yeah, which doesn't come up a ton as much in the comics, but I find it interesting. As I keep watching, I get the sense that. And I think I had this suspicion as well when I was talking with you about it, Ricardo, before I'd even seen the show. Mm-hmm. I wonder if Matt Reeves, just in general, has gangster show ideas, and he's just wants to kind of make them. But the assignment he's been given is Batman stuff. So he's like, I'm gonna just make it work in the Batman universe, and then
okay. So like, since you don't care and I could spoil it, then I'll say. And he said this in multiple interviews and like podcasts he's done and stuff. But like, because he came in when Matt Reeves came to the co-writer and director of the Batman. When he came in and he turned down the movie. Because originally he came in to do the Ben Affleck Batman movie.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And he was giving a script that, by all accounts, was a really good script. But not, but set in the Snyderverse kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
And the thing was that they said, oh, Ben Affleck wrote it, and he's too stressed, like he's got a lot of shit in his plate. And like, Ben Affleck is a great director, I think.
Yeah,
and a good writer and a good actor.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'd tackled a movie this big, you know, like he did like Argo and like he's done big movies, but like I think that he just kind of wanted to hand this off to somebody else.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't even call Argo a big movie.
Yeah, it's like, but that's the biggest movie he'd done. You know,
yeah, it's like a mid-level movie at most. Yeah, you know, like it's not big in the sense that a studio is going to depend on it as a tentpole for that year. You know,
yeah. And he did do like, I think, what is it? Fly by Night, I think it's called. And that was fun. There's a lot of good action scenes and stuff. So like, I'm sure he would have been a great director, but he kind of wanted to not concentrate on that part of it. And he had already written it. So there's already a lot of energy and time that he had put into it. And Matt Reeves came in and said, Yeah, I'd be interested, but not in this story. Like, I'm not. I would want to do stuff like where it's the detective stuff, not the. It's I want to do psychological and detective work like stuff.
I remember interviews where you would like like emphasize detective bits.
And I remember all of the press coverage for the Batman specifically being like, "This is Detective Batman."
Yeah,
this is supposed to, which is funny because that was also the coverage for the Dark Knight. They were like, "This is Detective Batman," and it's like his detective work is he puts a bullet he found into a minigun and shoots it into
computer and into AI.
To be quite honest, his detective work in the Batman isn't that much better.
Oh, okay,
I think it's a lot better than the Christopher Nolan one, though.
It's at least a little more focused because like a major component of it is using Catwoman as like a wire. As a wired informant.
Oh,
yeah. And but also, so I think, okay, so having seen, and just recently, having seen like the Christopher Nolan movies, which I thought were my favorite. I thought like The Dark Knight was probably my favorite. And then the 89 Batman. I think the Batman is my favorite one out of all of them for like three main reasons. But one of them is because even though he's not doing a lot of he is doing a lot of on the ground detective work. He's breaking into places, he's following people, but that's part of like the noir, you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, this detective like got a case and he thought this was the one thing, but now this is leading him to this other thing because he followed the dame, you know, the damsel in distress, you know what I mean? And so I do like that part of the Batman. Another big part is that like I like the whole fact that no one is clean. You know what I mean? Like everyone's dirty. Like Thomas Wayne is dirty. Like he's not the saint, you know what I mean, in the movie. And that corruption is a big thing because you wonder, because if you like just break down Batman, it's a real right-wing fucking fest, right? Like he's like this dude who's a billionaire and he's going out there and just beating the fucking poor dude.
But, it's an objectivist fantasy.
But
that's usually a reductive way to put it. Like to focus on beating up the poor, it's usually criminals who happen to be poor.
But also like I like that, and now we're getting to spoilers for the Batman, but Marvin again doesn't care. But like I like that he's concentrating on that for a whole movie, and then by the end he's like, oh fuck, like I've been concentrating on the Batman and I haven't been Bruce Wayne where I could help people as Bruce Wayne the billionaire, but this vengeance is not healthy. It's not healthy for me psychologically. I haven't grown up as a human being because I'm stunted by this. And I like that all that is like literally mental illness is brought into the movie, you know, not only with his family, but with him. Like he's like, I haven't processed this grief, and I thought vengeance was the answer, and it's not. And that's the big part of why I love the movie. And there is, I feel like there is a lot more detective stuff than there was in the Nolan verse.
You know, the more like when I think about it, there is like a lot more like tailing, I guess. There's a lot more like following people around, which I get like that is legitimately different.
And he is getting clues and like going back home and
he does demonstrate more general mental acuity because he does usually answer the riddles that are given by Riddler. Like he provides a lot of answers to the riddles given.
I'm guessing it's more of like footwork detective work than it is like Sherlock Holmes detective work, where he's like he sees a clue and goes, I know.
And the most complicated of that stuff is actually left to Alfred because he's the one who deciphers all of the straight puzzle ciphers.
But what's cool too is that like. And we're getting away from the show, but
it's all related.
I feel like it informs the show too.
Yeah,
that like in the Batman, I do love that like you don't start off with an origin story at all. Do you mean like it's year 2?
Yeah, he's been Batman for 2 years.
Isn't it legitimately like literally based on Batman Year 2? Like the comic?
And like literally like when the movie starts, like he's part of the detective work is that like he's like, hey. Like he's kind of talking into like his recorder and stuff for like notes.
He's like writing in his journal.
Yeah, basically. And he's like, hey, this is the start of year 2 of the what is it called, the Batman project or whatever he's calling it. Like it's literally year 2. Like he's literally logging in.
The comics would usually call it the mission, but I don't know if that's what he called it in the movie.
I thought it was called like the whatever project he had called it. Now
the Batman project seems really direct.
yeah. But whatever he had called it, like it's his second year of and he called it a project basically. And it's his second year, and he takes like crazy notes. And another thing that he does that's kind of weird but also futuristic is that like he's got lenses that record everything. He's got like contact lenses.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So he's like, as he's rewatching,
this weird
rewatches a playback.
This weird mix of anachronistic technology. It's like they have the lenses, but you have classic cars. But then it makes me wonder if it's more of like the rich got to advance of technology and the poor have to live like a few decades behind sort of thing. Maybe.
I think you could probably parse it out that way and it would work out pretty well.
Yeah, that might be what's going on. But anyway, at this point, Sophia had shown up.
Yes.
And they have the crazy lunch scene where she's eating like a maniac.
and she just got released from Arkham Asylum.
So how long has she been released in this show?
Just literally like
she literally just got out, or has she been out for like a hot minute? Or
I feel like they don't say.
They definitely don't say in the pilot.
Yeah, but I think how I like to fill it in is that her dad died, and they're like, "Well, you were close to getting out, so we'll just let you out a little earlier," and then they let her out.
Oh, I see. Or like her, like it seemed like something like where it kind of seemed like her dad made her go. So it seems like once her dad died, the thing forcing her to stay.
That's good that you're saying this, Marvin.
Because that's not a bad way to take it, because she did say, "Here we are, untamed." At the end of their conversation at the dinner table. That's part of what
I was getting, is that like she seems to have vitriol towards her dad, but loves her brother because her brother always visited. And it seemed like her dad is the one who kept her there. I don't know why he kept her there, but it seems like definitely something for her to grow a grudge about. And it seems like as soon as her dad died, she's free to go, because she probably was free to go at any moment, except her dad somehow made her stay there.
I don't know. So, she does definitely also seem to have a history of murder.
Right, but there's like they're gangsters. So like you know, like it like a lot of gangster families probably wouldn't be like, she's just doing her job, you know, like, you know, so like I wonder.
I don't know, it is Gotham, so anything could be a little wonky, but
and she does have like this, they clearly demonstrate, she's a little feral by the way she's eating, and like the fact that she just chugs martinis and just eats olives like crazy, and you're like,
it's the whole scene's there to tell you like, okay, the clothes and way she's made up and everything, this is a front, this isn't who she is inside.
And even they show her like sleeping that first night, and like she's literally sleeps in the closet.
What?
I think that's a different episode.
Oh, sorry. I just well, spoiler alert.
Okay, so she sleeps in a closet.
She's in a closet. So she's like clearly getting like out of that mentality of being institutionalized. You know what I mean? Like she's it's almost like she's getting used to like being free and being like out and like and I'll say the episodes I am ahead of this. You still don't know a lot about like. You learn a little bit about her in the institution, but like you could definitely tell that there's more that they're not, telling yet. So,
well, what you get from the lunch scene though is that they are two people who are very good at talking, and now they're dueling. Like,
and another thing you get is that these are two people that were really close at one time.
Yes. So there is the pretense of it being friendly until we get to the point of Alberto.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, she lets herself be vulnerable and be feral in front of him. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
And when she's first with her family and there she's all buttoned up and stuff. And then when she's eating, you kind of get to see like she puts her guard down and you get to see like a little bit of the real her,
Yeah.
She talks about how she doesn't like how stuffy the place is.
Yeah.
And she says, I would hate for you to be nervous with me.
Yeah. It's like this combination of, I remember you, we were friendly, but I'm also kind of threatening you at the same time.
Well, where the fuck is Alberto?
Yeah, it's an interesting
scene. I have every reason to suspect that he's dead. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, and then we have the scene where he goes to visit Tony Soprano's mom, essentially, and then
it's very much that sort of scene.
Yeah,
but in order to do that, he has to switch from his plum sports car to a normal car because he doesn't want his mom to see his plum sports car, which I think is an interesting detail. And immediately Dolly Parton's playing on the radio.
Also, like her mom lives way outside the city. Like clearly he's trying to keep her away from his business and stuff. And
like, so when he's visiting, it won't look like some big shots coming to visit.
Exactly.
But I think it's also that, but I don't think she lives way outside the city though. It seems like he's visiting his old neighborhood because he said like he lived near Crown.
They had to get on a train so he could get to his car, and then they drove to the rest of the way to the house.
Yeah.
But I think it's far in the sense that like
it's definitely outside the city.
To me, it seems like it's far in the sense that like certain parts of Queens is far from Brooklyn. You know, like you need a train to get there, but it's not like.
And I think they mentioned in the. I think they mentioned the pilot, but
because even in the neighborhood, this looks like Queens where they are. Like it looks like they're in Queens.
Where she isn't where he grew up.
Oh, it's not.
No, he moved her out.
Okay, so because it looks like Queens, and you know Gotham's essentially New York. Yeah. So
this feels more like Rhode Island or something, like just kind of a little farther out. Like he literally took I don't think he could have driven. It wouldn't have been a fast drive there. That's why he took the train and then another car. And again, Dan hit it on the head, which is like you don't want to call attention to like a fancy car outside the suburbs,
right? And
he's just blending in. You know,
but it's still close enough that he tries to bribe her to leave to leave further. So it's still got to be somewhat close to the city.
Yeah. Well, close enough to he's clearly protecting her from like his business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she is like savvy to like what he does. Like it.
Yes.
So it's not like she's oblivious, and then she's very supportive.
I mean, she actually seems to be the source of his drive. Actually,
basically. When you suddenly see where it comes from.
When he's feeling down, when he seems like, oh, you know, I'm not good enough. She's like, fuck that. You're my big, strong, tough bull of a boy. Like, I'm going to make sure you know that this city is going to be yours one day. And it's like, what an interesting take on that. Because the Tony Soprano version of the mom would be like, you don't know what you're doing, Tony. You're fucking up. You know, every part of his life system is telling him you're a failure. But she is like, no, you are going to run this fucking city one day, you know?
Also, I am off my medication.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I mentioned this before on our other podcast, but I'll mention it in this one. But like, I don't know if it's clearly they're not like first generation immigrants, you know, like the Oswalds, but
the Cobbs,
sorry. That like, I mean, I had a mom that was like that, like no matter I could have been a gangster and she would have been like, well, you have to be the best, you know, gangster.
Right. Be the best gangster. If you're going to be a gangster, be the best gangster.
Yeah. Whatever you can do, just do it well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've told the story before, but like personally to you guys, but one time my mom did say like, I was starting to make money and she didn't know, like she's always supportive. That doesn't need to know what you're doing. She's just, I'll support you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she didn't know what I was doing, like for work or anything. And she's like, let me talk to you. And I was like, all right. And she's like, hey, I don't know. Don't tell me. She's like, but if you're selling drugs, just be careful. And I was like, oh my God, like that's the last thing I'm fucking doing. That's the last thing I would be doing right now, like currently. But I remember that was the day where I was like, man, I like, that's a mother's love, dude. To like be like, you could be selling drugs, but I still love you, and like just be careful.
You can't bribe her with a necklace either.
But also like just thinking like back then, like I don't think I had I didn't have a child back then, but I remember thinking like something clicking in my head and going like, oh wow, like that's like unconditional love, because like I could probably be a criminal and she would still fucking support me, you know? But anyway, I totally saw that in Oz's mom, where she was very supportive of him. But could it be because she's not on her meds?
Well, the thing is, the moment where she does the thing where she is sort of making him, like buttering him up and like, or like building him up, not buttering him up. He's like really building him up. That's when she seems the most sober. So I think that's actually her real personality, and the kind
the
of
drugged up
woozy
one is not. Yeah,
that's the woozy personality when she's like, "Oh, you bought me a necklace, thank you."
Something that I find interesting though is that Oz does mention brothers, and you see siblings in photos and stuff. And she mentions that the kids were playing in the bath.
Yeah,
but Oz is the only one taking care of her. And you wonder, like, where are the siblings?
That's like a Alzheimer's symptom, right? Where you just think you still have kids or something, you know?
Yeah.
So that's sort of alluding to that type of thing.
And we haven't mentioned that like Victor is there the whole time. The sidekick.
Yes.
The new sidekick.
But Victor's always there. Not at the lunch, but I assume he was keeping the car warm outside.
Well, he was in the car. He was in the car when he
got running.
Yeah, poor Vic. He has to just sit around while Penguin is like constantly fighting for his life in every conversation.
Yeah. And then see, the thing is, and after this scene, this is a really petty reason to have the show sold for me. But the next scene is when Penguin goes to meet Sal Maroni, and Sal Maroni's played by fucking Clancy Brown.
Yeah, Clancy Brown's fucking sick, though.
And as soon as I saw Clancy Brown, I'm like, sold. I fucking love Clancy Brown.
He can play any DC character he wants,
no matter what he's in, I'm always like, oh, he's gonna kill it. Like,
he can be Lex, he can be Sal, he can be anybody.
Yeah, I fucking love Clancy Brown.
But before we get ahead,
and the first thing he says is, "That's not my table." Fuck off.
But we should say that he doesn't bring anybody to see his mom. Like the fact,
it's very private.
And the fact that Victor's there is because he's on his way to kill him. You know what I mean? Like that's the train of events that are going to happen, but it gets derailed.
Wait. No, at that point he had gone through the motions, and I don't think he had.
No, I don't. By that point, so Victor was already planning to kill Victor after he had put Alberto in the trunk. So that's when he was like, now I'm going to kill you. I think what's happening when Victor is at his mom's house.
Oh, yes. You're right. He had already survived it, right?
Yeah, Vic already earned his trust by then.
I think at this point, he's commiserating with Victor. I think by this point, because he had talked with Victor a bit in the car. He was like, where did you grow up? I know from your ID you grew up in, what is it called? Crown Point?
Yeah, like the feeling you were just describing, Ricardo, was definitely what I was feeling when he was like going around like establishing his alibi and stuff, where it's like, hey, I'm going to take you around all this like incriminating, like cover my ass shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that you're seeing it because you're not going to be living by the end of this.
Yeah. But by this
like
point,
Collateral.
Kind of like, you know what it felt like too? The first quarter of this, it felt like Training Day. The movie Training Day.
Kind of, sort of. Or I was thinking of Collateral.
That too. Well, for me, it was like, hey, I'm going to take you to all these places and incriminating places because either you're going to fly or I'm going to kill you. The two things, you know what I mean? Like either you're gonna become corrupt like me.
You just reminded me of the first threat Penguin gives him. It's so funny.
which is what?
We're all like, kill your whole family and everyone you care about or whatever. He just kind of tosses it out.
Everybody, you know. So that's.
But yeah, so we did skip over that where like they went to dispose of Alberto's body and he was gonna kill. What's his name? Aguilar. What's his face?
Yeah, Victor.
But he basically convinces him. He kind of reminds him of himself, right? That's why he kind of like gives him a chance.
Well, I think it's sort of playing into the very first thing he said about his dream.
I think
his dream is
when he talks to
Alberto.
Alberto, yeah.
His dream is he wants to be a tough gangster who's loved. Yeah. And I think one of the things that's going to get him on the road to that is by showing mercy, you know, and being generous. Yeah. And I think he thinks he's playing into that idea with Victor, you know. And I think especially once he starts commiserating with Victor and he's like, oh, you grew up near where I did, you know, we both had it tough, you know, I know what it's like. You got to have some fucking ambition. You know, what are you going to be, small time your whole life, just stealing rims off the time? It's funny with that one scene where I love all the little scenes they had because there's one little scene much earlier on before they're getting rid of the body. He's like, I'm fucking hungry, gonna get something to eat, and they're just eating like shitty cheeseburgers next to like a fire. And he's like, look at
they're burning evidence.
We're sitting next to bunch of fucking rims, but you didn't have to steal the rims off of my car. What a fucking waste of time that was, you idiot. You know, like, and it's like, this is a great scene of just him eating this shitty cheeseburger and complaining about the pickles. There's not enough pickles. I asked for extra pickles. Is 2 extra? Well, I guess 1's considered normal. And then he's like, do you want one of my pickles? He's like, I don't want your fucking dirty pickles that touched your fucking mouth.
And then like a couple scenes later, he offers him a cigar from like his greasy ass armpit.
Yeah. So there's a lot. Their buddy relationship is blooming. And it's sort of it's sort of a sign of ultimate trust that he shows him to see his mom.
Yeah.
And then you have the Sal Maroni scene, because the one detail we forgot is in the very first.
Did we explain that like Victor has a stutter when he gets nervous?
Yeah. That's one of his things, is that Victor stutters when he has a thing. And the other thing is, in the first scene with Alberto was talking about, you see this ring? This ring is power. You know where this ring originally came from? It was Sal Maroni's. And then the thing Penguin does is he takes the ring. Don't bypass the fact that like, so Alberto has the ring now, right? Yeah.
In the beginning of the show, but he got it from his dad, and his dad took it from Salvatore Maroni.
Yeah. And now in this scene with Sal Maroni, he offers it back. Yeah, because he's trying to be like.
And then when the Penguin killed Alberto, he took it from him.
Yes. So now he's trying to like play both sides. He's trying to. Yeah. He very directly says, "I'll be your double agent." You know, like, and Sal doesn't agree, but Penguin's gonna force him to agree
by giving him the ring.
By giving him the ring back. Yeah, and also with this upcoming plan, which is he is now putting the utmost trust in Victor. To do this crazy ass plan, which is
he makes him frame Sal Maroni.
But
which is ballsy. The whole thing is ballsy. Basically, he's like, I want to be in business with you, but you like he basically was like, he's not gonna want to do business with me, so I have to force his hand to be in business with me. And the way he does it is by making him look really, really good and tough, basically.
Yeah. Because otherwise he'll have to admit this is all a fake. Yeah. Because basically what happens is there's like a whole minor fake chase scene and then being captured.
Yeah.
And
they capture the Penguin.
Yeah, Sophia dressing him down, and
I do kind of like how it ended. It was such a weird, chaotic ending to the fight.
Oh, with the
guy gets hit by a school bus of children, and then the confused children are like, "What?
What?" And then Penguin's like, "Hey."
Penguin starts to wave at the kids. He gets hit again.
It's a very weird ending. Part of me wonders if it's like a joke about the Dark Knight and all the school buses at the beginning.
Maybe that'd be sick.
It's like a really weird chase scene because it's like 4 different like juke outs. There's like he runs away. They're gonna run through the market, which they set up a whole set for and crowd for. But no, it turns out the Penguin hid in his own truck. But the guy discovers him, but then he gets hit by a truck or the school bus. But then a guy out of nowhere just knocks him out anyway.
Yeah.
So
and then cut to black.
And then cut to black.
And this next scene, we really get to see that, like, because you're still at the show, like, you still don't know about Sophia. You don't know, like, what's the deal with her? Like, is she a killer? Is she not a killer? Like, she seems like she's also a victim. And, like, there's all these conflicting, like, emotions that you're having about her. And then she kills a fucking kid, dude.
Yeah. And also, her hair is now different. It's like this unkempt hair.
Yeah.
And then she's wearing like this like street level clothing. And then,
Not to go back, but like, was it me or like maybe like like in the beginning of the show when he's going around to getting his alibis, do we see boobs in the show?
Yeah. There's that one shot where right as Victor's heading in, one of the ladies of the night goes, "Hey, you want some of this?" And you see one boob.
I will see this, and there's a lot of cursing.
Kind of a pasty on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of cursing on it on the show, and I do like that. Like that they let them do this and not went like, "Hey, the movie's fucking PG-13. You guys got to keep it." Yeah, like they're like, "No,
that's true.
Like it's
well, they're on HBO. It's almost contractually required to show tits.
Well, like, but I'm saying because it's part of a bigger IP that like Warner Brothers could have been like, "No, you guys can't. You guys got to keep it like
But
keep
then
it
HBO
FX.
would have been like, no, you have to show the boobs. If we don't, it's not allowed at HBO.
Well, it's the hierarchy of the same company. So, but the thing is that like they could have been like, oh, we got to do it like FX, where you're like, everything could be violent, but it's got to be implied, and like, you know, you can't be that graphic. But they did go all out, and like it does kind of. I think it's going to be a really good companion to the movies because you're going to see how dark the city is. You know what I mean? And how far he has to go to bring it back. You know what I mean?
What's funny though is that like by the time we get around to, I'm assuming the next, movie to wrap into whatever happens with this show, if the movie has to maintain a PG-13 rating, then suddenly the world will like get a little lighter when you watch the movie.
Well, he just won't go into the poor neighborhoods. That's all.
Yeah.
Just beat up criminals in the suburbs.
Yeah, middle class, upper class people
in Robbinsville.
Yeah.
Well, as it is, doesn't it feel like the movie? And this is more a question for Dan, who's seen the movie, but doesn't it feel like they're kind of setting up the Court of Owls for the sequel?
Yeah, easily. Right? Or it's either that, or I haven't seen additional episodes of Penguin yet, so I'm assuming we learn what this revolutionary new drug is.
It's that drug from RoboCop 2.
Oh, okay.
It's nuke.
Yeah, nuke.
It isn't Venom, is it?
No, I don't think it's Venom. No.
Okay, yeah, because like
Titan.
Yeah.
Well, there's that bit in the. Remember how near the end of the Batman movie, like Batman just uses a green like a serum of some kind to like get a burst of like adrenaline to like, and then he goes a little nuts and almost kills the guy.
Well, they say that the rumor was like, oh, that's the Venom serum, right? Not Venom, the character Venom, but
right,
the one from.
This is what happens when you call everything Venom, Ricardo.
I know. So apparently he cleared it up, and he's like, no, it was strictly just adrenaline. It wasn't Venom. It was just adrenaline that he shot up.
What a weird thing to write in. It's just a weird thing to write in.
But like, I thought it was really a really cool thing because you're basically like, oh, he was about to lose, and the only way he was to win was to do this, and like it also kind of showed him that like, oh, I could go too far. I could kill someone. So my rule should be I don't kill anybody. And like I did like that they flirted with that line a bit.
It was in the movie for me. It was a bit fast, but all right, I'll take that.
But yeah, they Sophia ends up interrogating him with piano wire in his armpit. What
I like about that interrogation scene is that her killing the kid was just part of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, it shows how brutal this world is, right? Because after shooting the kid, no one's phased. Penguin's not phased. No. She's not phased. The shooter's not phased.
She's like, she shoots the kids like, see, look what you made me do. This is the kind of fucking person you are, Penguin. You made me fucking kill people. Like,
and isn't Penguin like no, but he's the one. He's a piece of
fucking lied.
Yeah,
he's a fucking liar. It's him. The interesting part is they managed to like track that kid down. Like they did some really good footwork to be able to connect the dots of, was there a kid that night
don't mess
there?
with the Falcones, I guess.
Well, they make her seem like she's smart. Like she sees the holes in the car when she goes to dinner with him.
Yeah,
she's very perceptive. She's as perceptive as an audience member should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice when a story's written where no one's wearing an idiot hat and everyone's like kind of intelligent, because then you get
nothing went by her. She was like, oh, this, and then like even like the energy in the restaurant they're at, like she definitely felt it, and like also like the game she was playing where like she knew that only her and her brother knew what the drug, but then like when they went to dinner, he's like, well, how do you know? And it's like, clearly I feel like deep down she knows like he's bullshitting me, but
yeah, because in the next scene when he's talking with Victor, he's like, either she already knows or she's gonna know soon, you know,
and I think that the fact that like she goes along with it is because Oz knows how to talk his way out of things, but also like the fact that like she doesn't have anybody else. Like her family isn't giving her any respect, even though now she's next in charge. She's next in line.
At least for the scope of the pilot, it seems like it's because she needs to know what happened to Alberto. If she just starts killing people left and right, she won't know. And he might know. At this point, she doesn't think he's dead. She just wants to know where he is.
Yeah.
Which then leads into this last scene where
he's about to die, by the way. Oz is about to die.
Yeah, Oz is about to die, but Victor pulls through like crazy. Like he manages to get the car crashing onto the Falcone property with Alberto in the trunk
car.
Yeah, with Alberto in the trunk and everything according to plan. Like the ring finger missing.
Yeah.
Well, not quite according to plan. It wasn't exactly as Penguin asked him to do it, which makes for a fun conversation afterwards.
Yeah, it makes for a funny conversation. He's like, well, because in the next scene when they're eating the slush puppies, they're like, I how do you cut a head off, right? He's like,
I just thought that if I start from the front, do I cut through the trachea? And once I get there, I go in from the back, and then they get to the spine, and then I like how Penguin's like, all right.
It's fine. We'll next time we'll figure it out. I wonder if that'll be like somehow in the last episode, Victor will pull through by knowing how to chop a head off, and like that'll be like the linchpin of a plot. He'll.
I do. That's what I like about the show is that like it has those look this is a dark show. It's like it's about the dark underworld, the criminal world,
right?
But it has those moments like kind of like Reservoir Dogs where it's like these two people are horrible, but at the end of the day, they're two people, and you have to talk about random things that are around horrible things.
Yeah, and it's very Sopranos too in that way.
Yeah,
and it's very humanizing. It makes you, and because you see Penguins,
because you have that thought, you're like, oh shit, if I had to cut somebody's head off, like as dark as that sounds, like how would you start? How would you do it?
And it's like you commiserate with Penguin's plight. You're kind of like, he's this low-level guy trying to get by. I'm rooting for him. Fuck these guys. Yeah. I want him to win. Yeah. He and you, especially since it starts off with his dream of, I want to be the good gangster. I want to be the gangster that cares about his neighborhood and took care of his neighborhood so well. Everyone celebrated his life when he died. Like he wants to be liked, which is like has probably been difficult for him his whole life because of the way he looks and the way he interacts. So it seems like his one goal in life is to get enough clout to be a liked person. So I'm rooting for that. I would like to. Who the fuck would have thought someone could make me care about the Penguin?
Unlike all of Falcone's guys, he's the nice murderer.
Yeah.
A usually kind of nothing Batman villain. I kind of care about. I actually kind of want to root for him.
They placed him well in a traditional crime drama scenario in which a character like Penguin can thrive.
Yeah.
It's like a power vacuum in which like scheming and weaseling around will get you places. That's perfect for Penguin.
And you always root for an underdog, like he's working hard to make his way out from under.
He kind of like gets to, you kind of start to root for him when he's talking to Vic, like kind of hyping him up for the mission. It's like, these guys don't understand us. They were born full. They don't know. Yeah. They don't know what it's like. And we can only get what we decide is ours.
Yeah,
I do love that this has a female showrunner because
right.
I think it's like really well balanced to not be like. I think if it was a dude, it'd be like, well, she's crazy, dude. Like that, like Sophia's crazy. But it's like everything is nuanced. Everything is like, no, that's not what it seems.
I think you're totally right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's otherwise really easy to write a female character who is off her rocker as just being like, well, she's just crazy.
Yeah.
But it seems,
although to her credit, the Sophia's actor is very good at portraying unhinged,
right, in a way that doesn't feel like unable to function as a person.
Right. It's very good at menacing.
Yeah, it's
the show has a lot of balance, which I love.
Yeah. And it's all tied together with very good performances. There is not a bad performance in the bunch.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell, it's surprising. I actually don't like Colin Farrell as an actor, actually. So I'm glad I like him in the show. He's pretty good. I
remember being impressed when I saw the Batman originally. It's like, wow, that's Colin. Good for him. Like he's totally like I'm sold. That's a Penguin.
Yeah. So
I think I've heard him doing interviews where he he says like he realized like, oh, my strength is not in leading man. My strength is to support the lead. And he's like, he does much better in that. And I totally agree. Like when he's supporting, I think he does really, really well.
But now he's the lead. Better.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really an ensemble. Do you know what I mean? And he's coincidentally the lead in this.
Right.
In the Batman, he's just a supporting character, and I think that's why he shines in that, and why now he shines in this. The show is about him, and it's a Penguin show, but having watched a few more episodes than you guys, there's a lot of screen time for a lot of more characters. You know what I mean?
Okay, so it might expand out to be like slightly more than just about the Penguin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess, well, obviously Ricardo did stay tuned. He watched as many episodes as available.
Yeah. And the fact that it's only one season. Allegedly there's no, it's just a limited run series.
It's going to be a mini series. It's going to be
a limited run
enclosed
series. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
only
okay.
So much respect for anyone who can define like an endpoint, out the gate.
Yeah.
And sticks to it.
So now what the plan is to have a show between movies. So like this will lead us into 2, and then Gotham, the PD show will still happen in between.
Yeah, have
movies.
A Gotham Central limited series that could work super well.
In between 2 and 3.
Yeah, like again, this show kind of reminded me of like this type of grit and crimey stuff is exactly a sort of show that GCPD could have been, or I mean Gotham Central could have been.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping is, because from what I understand, the Batman is pretty grounded. It's grounded sort of in the same way that the Dark Knight and movies are grounded in that. There's
grounded
like there's no magic or
so
crazy weird technology.
Or it's not like we're like it's not like the Snyderverse where you're like, oh, there's a lot of magic involved and there's a lot of like disbelief.
But if they're doing Gotham Central, right? To me, part of the magic of Gotham Central, as the comics at least, was the juxtaposition of extremely down to earth, salt of the earth, working class characters pitted up against fantastical super villains. And they're like, how the fuck are they supposed to resolve? Like the first episode, this issue is like, okay, we're the Gotham police and Mr. Freeze is stealing diamonds.
Well, they're just responding to a call, and it turns out it's Mr. Freeze in the apartment.
I know,
and that's
exactly.
like a complete surprise to them, and one of the guys gets iced to death.
And that's one of the magical juxtapositions of that comic, where it's just like you are thrown for a shock constantly, where it's like, oh, right, this is Batman world.
So, I guess if they decide at some point to, suddenly pull the trigger on the fantastical.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the Batman 2 may have, like, let's say a Mr. Freeze, where it's like not that the crazy, like a freeze gun could exist. But I don't know. I don't know what direction Matt Reeves wants to take. I mean, he has done movies where it started off super grounded, like Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
You know what? You do bring up a good point, though. The fact that the universe itself begins so grounded makes the appeal of Gotham Central as a concept, like that does like take away a little bit from that. You're right.
Yeah, because otherwise it's sort of the exact same thing happening with Gotham with the Batman. It's just from a different point of view, which is not to me what the magic of Gotham Central was. To me, the magic of Gotham Central, like one of the craziest issues is just a one-off explaining what's going on with GCPD during Final Crisis. And it's just one of the guys being like, oh shit, I was about to try to get home to my wife and my family, and Shazam, or at the time still Captain Marvel, slammed onto my car. I can't go home now, and it's like this weird.
I hated that issue.
Oh, really? You didn't like it?
What I did like is how separate it was from everything else.
Well, I liked it as just like a general one-off of like, these events will occur to the normal people as well. What is it like? So I liked it as a slice of understanding what that might be like.
It's because I think the context in which I encountered that issue was I was only reading a run of Gotham Central, and I happened upon it, when the crisis happened to happen, and that issue just drops right in the middle of things.
Right, it does, yeah. And you're reading the collected paperback. It just happens right in the
I think
middle,
it might be in between arcs technically, but it is like just abrupt, like, okay, and now this is happening. It's crazy. And also next issue, it's not going to be happening anymore.
And that's kind of how Western comic books work sometimes, though. It's just
but I mean, just given the fact that the rest of the entire title of run of the comic is storylines that lead into each other and out of each other. And, you know, it's all much different from that. So it's such an anomaly that it took me out.
Well, okay. Well, at least for the scope of the Penguin, based on what we saw, would you stay tuned, Dan?
I have not seen any more of it yet because I was waiting to record this. But now that we are wrapping this up, I am interested to see more, especially since there is to be a finite end to this. It's so appealing to hear about a single season of something. I
want to watch something way more when I know it's already over or it's definitely going to end, you know?
When there's no threat of it being canceled, you know, unceremoniously, not being able to do what they hoped to do.
Yeah.
I think that's the main like feeling you're trying to avoid in general.
Yeah. I love the British show model, which is
when everything is a series.
So yeah, it's like 3 seasons of 3 episodes. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like, and then we're done, and then or like The Office, which is a little more, but still like not 24 fucking episodes, and like it went on forever. Right. The Office went on for way too fucking long. The U.S. Office.
Unless it's Doctor Who, then it'll just continue.
Yeah, but that's a thing where like you're like, oh, anybody can be Doctor Who. Like they establish the rules of the show, you know.
Yeah, and they'll just be like, every time he changes, the Doctor changes. We'll just make up different rules for this.
I mean, I'll hand it to the UK. The term series makes so much more literal sense than a season.
Yeah, because you know, like Luther. Luther was like, the first season was enclosed, so it's the first series, really, you know. And then you know they just. If they want to do another one, they do another one, but it's another series. It's another enclosed Luther story. I would also stay tuned. In fact, I had to stop myself from continuing because I didn't want to ruin the scope of the discussion, because I immediately want to know how are Penguin and Victor gonna do it? You know,
are they gonna do it?
Like, are they gonna win? You know?
That's what you meant.
I think like they're gonna hook up.
But yeah, I guess we would all stay tuned. Yay for the Penguin.
Yeah, thankfully it's a good show that justifies its existence.
Yeah,
because
that's the thing.
Yeah, that's you hear about a show like this, and it's very easy to get dismissive about, you know, this deluge of, you know, superhero associated
how many different things do they have to like mine for content? What's next? A doctor, like a fucking
it's just a fire hose of, you know, like cheaply made productions.
Like a show like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like I watched the pilot and I'm like, this is not for me. Like this is, I don't know what this is, but this is not something I want to watch.
Or like fucking all the fucking Sony Spider-Man movies where they're just desperate to mine for content from just the Spider-Man IP. And it's like, Kraven the Hunter. And everyone's like, who fucking cares about Kraven the Hunter? Like, fuck gives a shit.
Well, at least the Venom movies are okay.
But if they wrote it well, what if Kraven the Hunter ended up being written as well as the Penguin?
Honestly,
somehow,
the Venom movies are the only ones that are like making out all right, I think.
Well, I think part of it is Venom from the beginning knew it was stupid.
Yeah,
like and Tom Hardy was like, I'm going to play this stupid. I'm just gonna. No, I know.
Also, Venom is the coolest one they have.
Yeah, he's the only other one where people are like, "Oh yeah, cool, it's evil Spider-Man." You know,
basically.
They also lean into like it's a buddy movie. It's a buddy movie. The Venom is buddy movies.
Yeah,
where they're both dumb.
Yeah, they're willing to lean into the stupidity of the concept, whereas like Morbius is trying to be so like dour and like and it's Jared Leto pretending this is an important performance, and then you know like or Madam Web where it's no one knows what's going on. And and everyone's just here for a paycheck, you know. So you know, it's just
I'm gonna dig up a very old thing just because it annoys me so. Something about the Gotham show. It used to piss me off that they renamed Pamela Isley to Ivy Pepper.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Why?
Get it? She's Ivy.
But that's the most unnecessary change ever.
That's another show where like I watched the first 2 episodes and it was like, this isn't for me. This is not my not.
It's like it was like a Smallville where you're kind of just like, oh, okay.
Or like, look,
even though it has discount Boromir,
there's an audience for those shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Smallville had what, like 7 seasons, so.
or like the Flash, or like
or Arrow, or
the Age of Tomorrow, or what's it called? The
whole Arrowverse.
And it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them.
But what I like about comic books is that you have both of those.
A lot of flavors.
Like you have runs where it's definitely like a WB show. And you have runs that are very fucking serious, dude.
Yeah, we have very much entered the era where like video productions of comic books are just as varied and like chaotic and hard to follow as actual comic books are.
They're all falling into the same traps the comic book industry did.
Yeah, like trying to follow all continuity is already impossible for your average consumer. So we're to the point where you pick and choose what you like based on what you hear is good, and that's how you should enjoy comics, people.
And I feel like that's one thing I heard James Gunn say that I like. I'm like, oh, thank God, that, because he's like, the aesthetic is not going to follow Superman's aesthetic. Like everyone who comes in to do a property will have their own aesthetic, and then we'll figure out later how to like put them together. But like, let's not force them. You know what I mean?
And if anyone's going to understand how to make wacky stuff connect correctly, it's going to be James Gunn. Like, he's just a fan of the sillier, dumber parts of the comics, but he finds them sentimental. Yeah, that's the type of person you want running your comic book division. The people who go, I like that stuff. Shut up. Here's why I like it, and here's why it's good. So
as silly. Look, and I haven't seen the Joker 2. So, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say, as silly as that sounds, or like the premise of the Joker 2 or whatever it did, I like that it exists because it wasn't made to fall into a Batman-verse. It was literally a one shot, just like comics. Like sometimes you have a writer that like a certain company wants, and they're like, well, we're going to let him do whatever he wants for like 5 issues. And then it doesn't have to link up to anything we're doing. He's just doing his own limited series there, and let him do it. And then it will be done. Either it's good or it's bad. Sometimes you get the Watchmen. Sometimes you get the Joker 2.
So, and the thing is, I'm of the mind that the first Joker wasn't good to begin with anyway. I feel like this Joker 2, everyone finally understood, and like, oh, this is bad. And I'm like, yeah, it was always bad. It was never a good movie. It's just more obvious to people now that it's a silly musical. But it's not bad because it's a musical. It's bad because
Don't cry for me.
Todd Phillips doesn't know what to do with the character and just did nonsense on set and try to put it together in post. But anyway, that was our discussion of the Penguin and related Batman properties. Surprisingly good. I will actually definitely finish it on my own time.
Stay tuned.
Knowing that, see, the thing is, we did The Sopranos, and it was like, oh yeah, I would stay tuned, but then like, there's like 5 seasons. I don't have time. But knowing that the Penguin only has like 8 episodes, I'm gonna watch it all. Like that's all I need to see. So that's
very
great.
True.
Yeah. Next time the host will be Ricardo. We were looping back to Ricardo. Do you know what you want to do next time for Would You Stay Tuned?
I'm hoping to do Utopia, the UK version of Utopia.
Okay. I have zero idea what that is. So
right, me neither, actually.
Good. Don't even watch the trailer. Just watch the first episode.
All right. We will just watch the first episode then. Maybe by then Sarah will also have joined us again.
All right. The first episode of a series.
Yeah.
Not a season.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe not, because the whole way Would You Stay Tuned works is it's just whoever's available. We'll just record, because that's the way we do it. It's fun. It's more casual. So yeah. We'll see guys next time then for Utopia.
All right. Stay tuned, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, he doesn't do any penguin noises. He doesn't go.
Maybe at the end of the season, he's like,
he fully becomes the penguin.
Yeah. He gets bit by a penguin by the end of the season.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, great.
You're right, Oz.